My name is Andrew and this is Rogue Wrenching. This is actually the house project we're working on, which, that's funny. There's walls now, which is crazy because if you remember the video from last week, there were no walls. This was entirely just an open concrete slab with nothing to show for it. So today, right now, there are walls. Now, I wanted to address a couple of things that came up like in the comment section on the previous videos that I wanted to address real quick. So the footer is poured correctly. After the footer is poured is when I had fired my general contractor back in October, and then I had a different concrete company come out and finish it. And before we finished it, we rechecked all of the plumbing and we figured out all of the plumbing was in the wrong spot. So I had to bring out another plumber to come out and fix all the plumbing under the slab. So all the under slab plumbing has been fixed. The slope and grade and all that was checked by the plumbers when they were here, and everything is good to go as far as the drains are concerned. A lot of people did also point out that we have exposed PEX that has been exposed to sunlight and is direct buried into the slab. Here's a video of what that looked like back before it was even buried the first time, and we can see there is something like 46 or 48 different spliced connections underneath the concrete. Given that in any system, a connection point is the most likely place for a leak to occur, putting 46 of those under the concrete is just the dumbest thing I can possibly imagine, especially when you direct bury, like it's just a matter of time until those clamps rust off and the system starts leaking. Now, I will say this system has had, the freshwater PEX system has had air pressure on it for about 4 months and it's still holding pressure, so it's not leaking. Right now, the guy that came out and did the plumbing, I mean, it's not leaking. Doesn't know how to use a tape measure, but the PEX isn't leaking. But the point is, we are not using any of the freshwater PEX that is in the slab, with one exception. So all the freshwater that was laid with the drains, the full system for the house, the rough-in, as it were, what I was charged for, we're not using any of that. That's gonna stay capped off, or maybe we'll cut it off closer to the concrete. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing with that, but it's not going to be used. And the only section that we are using is right back here in the kitchen. There's a straight loop of PEX that goes from the wall up into the island for the kitchen sink. So that's the only PEX that's currently in the concrete that's going to be used, and that PEX has only been in there for a couple months as opposed to, 8 months. The point is, there are footers, the plumbing is in the right spot, the PEX that's under the concrete is not being used. We're gonna run everything up in the walls. That way it's serviceable, that way if there's a leak, we can identify it and fix it. It doesn't make any sense to run all that under concrete. So that's where we're at for right now. Now, as you might remember from the last video, we talked about patching the concrete and like we couldn't start framing until we got the concrete fixed. Now, the problem was my framing crew had an opening and they were like, hey, can we come out and frame that? And I said, well, like, here's the problem is like there's concrete that has to be fixed. So we can't just build a house on top of broken concrete. So what we ended up doing, which my concrete guy may be a little grumpy about, let me show you where we're at. So what we've done here is we've left the bottom plate on this wall out so that there's room to come in and patch this concrete. That way we can actually get it fixed. Now this is the part that you guys couldn't see in the video, is that this comes down at an angle. And so it came down here and the footer is there. There is a footer under there. I'll show a picture of that. There's a footer under here, but the angle of this broke off, kind of tapers out. That's why it didn't look like there was a footer from the last video. But there is a footer, and what we've done is we've just allowed space in all the walls where there's a problem. Let me walk over here and show you this. Here's another one of those areas that was broken, and we've got the bottom plate cut out of the wall, and then these studs are just hanging so that we can get in and get this concrete fixed before we actually anchor the walls down. So that's the concrete patch. You can see how we set that up. So we left the sheeting off of the outside. We cut the base plate out so that there is room to be able to get in and patch that concrete. So concrete patch is coming in Sunday. Crane is showing up on Monday, assuming the ground is dry enough. That's kind of going to be our risk right now because obviously, as you guys can see out the window, there's snow on the ground. And it's melting. It's 42 degrees right now. We're going to be up to 61 or 62 by Monday. So the snow is melting, the ground is drying out. It's just a question of will it dry out fast enough to put a 40-ton crane out here? And the answer is, I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that one out when we get to that point. But I wanted to show you guys a couple of things that this framing crew did that are different than how the previous framing was done. So the first is, you can see there's all these diagonal braces, and like there's one right here that runs like, there's bracing everywhere in this. You can see all these diagonal boards, everything is measured and it's squared and everything is braced and locked together. That way everything is and stays straight. That way, when you set the trusses across the top of it, everything is straight and you just can set them on and go. What you guys are looking at here is 2 working days worth of work that my framing crew has done. So Amish framing crew, I think it's a 10-man crew, and they came out Monday, did a ton of work, and then we had a storm come in on Tuesday. For those of you that are local to the Missouri, Arkansas area, you guys got the same snow that we did, and we got 8 or 9 inches of snow out here and blowing snow, and then we got down to -10, and like it was cold. It was really cold and really snowy, and it's warmed up now and it's melting. So like we're on the upswing, but during that period of -10 and almost a foot of snow, my Amish guys did not elect to come out here and work, which is totally fine. Like I went to work because I work in a heated shop, so it doesn't really affect me that much. But we only got 2 days worth of work in last week because of the weather. These guys have done a really, really good job. Just everything is beautifully done, and it's square and it's done correctly, and we have treated lumber at the bottom of the walls, on all the walls, not just the exterior walls. The zip system is on the walls and the tape is on. Now there's a couple little things we're not 100% yet. The zip tape has not been rolled yet, so we got to roll the zip tape. And I mean, they're not done. Obviously they're not done, but we've got walls framed up, which is cool because like I can now walk through my house and kind of get a feel for it. I've been looking at this floor plan on a piece of paper for 9 months at this point, and it's exciting to actually like walk through it and actually feel the space. There's going to be a ton of progress this next week, and I'm excited to bring you guys a video next week showing all the progress we've made. But depending on scheduling, we should be done with framing, and we're probably going to be, I'm hoping to start rough in on HVAC and plumbing before the end of the week, but that kind of depends on the HVAC and the plumber's schedule, and also when these framers actually get done. You know, we got porches to frame and there's some other stuff, other details to work through. So either way, we have made a ton of progress in the last week. It's super exciting to see that progress, and I am excited about this project going forward. But I'm also not naive. I'm checking work, I'm checking the details. We're making sure everything is right, because I didn't do that last time, and look how it turned out. We had to tear the whole thing down. So that's where we're at. We've got all of our interior walls set. We've got all of our exterior walls set. Everything is measured and square and braced off. We've got sections out of the walls on the exterior to be able to fix the concrete, put patches in for the concrete. And then we've got trusses that are going to be going up on Monday, and we're going to get this thing knocked out. As a couple people pointed out, this house is not going to be done in 45 days, and that's okay. We're not going to rush it. We're going to work as quickly as we can, but we are not going to cut corners. We're not going to do anything that is not correct. We're not going to take any shortcuts that we shouldn't take, but we are going to do as much as we can to try to stack guys like my plumber and my HVAC guy are friends. They can rough in together and not get in each other's way. Like, so we can do both of those rough ins together, and then we can shoehorn an electrician in, and we'll see what happens with the electrician. That one might get a little sticky because there's an electrician that has a $18,000 deposit that my general contractor gave him, and I'm trying to get that back, and it's sounding like it might turn into a mess, but I gotta call him. So we'll see how that all works out. I am not actually excited about any kind of legal action against any contractors or subcontractors. That's the last resort, obviously. It's not something that I want to do, but it's the only thing I can do at this point. So anyways, with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, found some value from it, or you just think this is a crazy story, please give this video a like so that it can spread to more people, and we'll see you guys in the next video.